How y'all doing, everybody? Welcome back to the Bayou Ballers Show. I am your host, Tay Visuals. My co-host over there, Trey. How you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing good, man. You know, April's almost here, and so
Mhm.
that means Easter almost here, one of my favorite holidays, and just been chilling. Actually, getting ready to come home, be there for a few days, get some crawfish and stuff. So excited about that.
Okay, for sure. As Easter approaches as well, one of the most famous holidays as well, April Fool's coming up. So
Mm.
everybody keep y'all antennas up. Don't get fooled by the I'm pregnant jokes, fellas. Um, we know we
Hmm.
stay solid out there. Don't go crazy when you get that text. Just remember what day is it. But welcome back, y'all. We had a nice little hiatus, non-planned due to
He did. Nah. This bad been partying. This man been in the gym working off that liquor. Nah, man been living his
the
best life.
man, but we shall prevail and move forward with the show and provide the content that you guys need. And a lot of things have went down. Why I was going, I should say, I ain't gonna blame Trey. I was going on a hiatus. But thank y'all for sticking with us. And we're gonna jump into some of this NFL free agency and draft. But the first thing we're gonna get into right now is the first pick, as y'all have baby girl in the back. Um, I'll be tending to her. But what are the Titans planning to do with this first pick?
Well, for the past few months, they've been talking about shopping the pick. I think um, there were a lot of conversations that they weren't even necessarily in the quarterback market. They might be going for the veterans. Obviously, that's when the Matthew Staffords of the world, the Sam Darnolds of the world were still out there, and maybe there's even been some talks about them even looking in the Derek Carr sweepstakes. And so they were tied to a lot of players like Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, some of the other guys that are at the top of the draft. And, you know, it could be a little bit of a smokescreen, but at the same time, it could really show where their hands are. My boy, Stoicism Dog on Twitter, he actually just dropped a live video where he
Mm-hmm.
was talking about this. We was like, look, man, 2 months ago, they were talking about trading the pick. And now, after one pro day, you want us to believe that they really all in on Cam Ward now. When
Yeah.
Cam Ward done showed you everything all season that he was worthy, that he is worthy of the top pick if you want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think really, would they mind drafting Cam Ward? Not at all. I think he's a really good quarterback. He could be their franchise quarterback, something that I don't think they've had since Steve McNair, to be quite honest with you, because even though they drafted Vince Young, he never really got going as consistently as you hoped during his tenure there in Tennessee. So they
Mm-hmm.
haven't had it in a number of years, and Cam Ward could be that guy that brings that stability to the position for 10 plus years. But again, I think there's an opportunity for other teams who might be in the quarterback sweepstakes. Cleveland, maybe. Uh, some people are saying the Giants are still entertaining it, even though they signed Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson pretty much a couple of days apart from one
Mm-hmm.
another. But, a team like Vegas may still be saying, hey, yeah, we got Geno, but he's 34. We can probably, put a package together and move up.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints at 9, if, there's been talks about them having a high level of interest in Cam Ward and already putting together some possible packages to get up to 1. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't even talked about some of these other teams that's kind of on the back end, like the Rams and Pittsburgh, that might say, hell, we'll give you everything to move up
Mm-hmm.
from as far as they are to 1. But I think at the end of the day, I think Tennessee, if they do move, it'll probably be for Cleveland or New York moving
Mm-hmm.
up to take that pick, or maybe even the Raiders, because I just don't see them putting themselves in a position where they miss out on some of the marquee talent at the top of the draft. When you think about an Abdul Carter, you think about a Travis Hunter, maybe even when you go to the offensive line, you got, I think it's Armbo, I don't know how to pronounce it, but from Missouri, and then obviously you got Will Campbell from LSU. And so maybe trying to put yourself in a position where you can still get a difference maker. Because I think at 9, you kind of lose out. I think really on the bona fide, like they're gonna be good talents
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to some of the needs that Tennessee has. Um, but I'm interested. I think ultimately they stay at 1,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they end up trading Cam. I think they end up drafting Cam Ward, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't and if they traded that pick.
Okay. One thing I'll say this: do the Titans have to draft a quarterback?
No.
Granted that they missed out on, well, the jury's still out on Will Levis, to
Yeah.
a couple people. Malik Willis, they traded him. That's two
Mm-hmm.
quarterbacks that a lot of people say they missed on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if I don't know if this regime gets another year. If they fail miserably.
Mm-hmm.
The Derrick Henry releasing looks bad on them as well.
Yeah.
With the season he had, not going back to the trading to AJ Brown. So do they need a significant upgrade at the quarterback position in your opinion?
In my opinion, not really. I think, a guy like Will Levis, I think, in my opinion, I think he just got put into the position too
Mm-hmm.
early. You were hoping that Ryan Tannehill would probably have been your quarterback last year too, to give
Mm-hmm.
him another year of development, and that just didn't happen. And he had to be the starting quarterback for a few games, and obviously he was going back and forth with Mason Rudolph. But I
Mm-hmm.
do think they have a level of belief in him, and that if they got a veteran, like a Derek Carr or Joe Flacco or whoever else, or Kirk Cousins, that also might be on the trade market that can come in and just stabilize the quarterback position. And then you develop Will Levis, and then next year kind of roll into, okay, is he going to be our guy or is he not? I
Mm-hmm.
think that's an ideal situation for them, especially if in the process, you get a generational talent, whether that be Travis Hunter, who's going to be box office, or an Abdul Carter that change your defense for the better. I think if they're in the positions to draft those guys and they can deal with the quarterback position later, I think it's a good position to be in, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a Cam Ward or Shador Sanders makes them an overnight success. They don't just fix all the issues that the Titans have had and need to build around. But I think you put a veteran in that position as opposed to a rookie, and you allow
Mm-hmm.
yourself to, develop Will Levis, or if you want to, take a flyer on somebody in the second or third round too, to compete with Will Levis, to see who might be that quarterback of the future. You can use those picks that you get with the theoretical trade for that first overall pick to continue to build around your roster.
Mm-hmm.
Because AFC South, I mean, it's not like an extremely strong division either. So you don't really need a whole lot. But I think a veteran providing stability and then allowing you to get youth in some other key areas on the team could be beneficial for them. So,
Um, with that being said about Cam Ward, transitioning to Shador Sanders,
mm-hmm.
Deshaun Watson with the fully guaranteed contract. New York Giants signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year, what was it, $8 million deal?
Year 8. Yep.
And Russell Wilson just got 1 year, $21 million.
Yep. But I think only 10 guaranteed. So,
10 guaranteed.
mm-hmm.
Does this change their outlook on drafting a quarterback in Shador Sanders, who's the second quarterback? Seems like he's been sliding into that second quarterback behind Cam, and looks like Cam has took the number one
Yeah.
reins.
For
So, do you
me,
think
so
Browns
a
or
while
Giants?
back, yeah, so a while back I did like a prediction for who I think the quarterbacks might be, and I didn't have Shador Sanders going to the Giants, and a lot of that, I guess I guess similar to how the Titans for months have been kind of giving us an idea of what they want to do at the position. I think the Giants have been giving us an idea as well. They kind of went all in on Matthew Stafford. That didn't work out. Try to go after Aaron Rodgers. That didn't work out. You bring in the Jameis Winston, and then you end up bringing in a Russell Wilson, who if he plays up to his incentives, will be making $21 million this year, and so that's not a contract that I think you give guys that where you say, okay, I still want to draft a quarterback. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it was just Jameis being signed, I would say, yeah,
Right.
they probably still take Shador. If it was just
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson being signed, they might just take Shador. But what are you going to do? Let's say you draft Shador. So what happens to Jameis or Russell Wilson? Because you're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks on your roster, and you still have Tommy DeVito that you signed under contract. So the fact that they have 3 quarterbacks under contract, I just don't see them drafting quarterback in the first round. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's more about, hey, let's get a player that can help us win now.
Right.
Um, you
Travis
know,
Hunter would be great.
I think he would be. Another, again, you're in New York, you need box office. That's the media capital of the world. That'd be a great player to start to build some things around. Then he'd automatically become your best DB on the team. And then if him
and
and
Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors, oh my God, on the offensive end, like that's going to be a dynamic duo in itself. So there's a lot of great things that you can do with a guy like Travis Hunter. And, Brian Daboll, like he got to win now. That's why you bring in a Russell Wilson and a Jameis Winston, right? Like the seat is hot. And why would I draft a quarterback 3rd overall that I'm not going to get to see to develop? At least let me take my chance with going with a veteran that can probably win me some games, win me 8-9 games, and give me another year. Whereas if I get a rookie, that rookie's not going to raise our ceiling yet. And we're going to get maybe 5 wins, and I'm going to get fired. And then somebody else going to get, this young high
your labor.
Like,
and I think this as well with their quarterback room currently with them signing Russ. All their quarterbacks are pretty different. Different styles. Tommy DeVito is a run heavy guy. Can use his legs to get around the edge. But Jameis Winston, we know him. We familiar with him from the Saints and Tampa Bay. Gunslinger, gonna put the ball in the air, gonna put it at harm's wrist. But he's gonna take his shots and he's gonna have some big plays. He's gonna have some interceptions. That's just who Winston is in his career. Russ, more on the safer side, I'll say, but has a nice touch, deep ball. Always had that high arcing throw down the field and just drops it in a bucket. More safe. Will doesn't use his legs as much anymore, but he can when he needs to, I should say, on big downs. And I definitely think if they draft a Travis Hunter with that 3rd spot, because their defensive line is pretty good already. They got they traded for Brian Burns, I believe. Dexter Lawrence still over there. And they got some 1st round picks, Kevon Thibodeau, I believe. So that defensive line, they won't need Abdul. So I think Travis
Debo at corner too.
So Travis Hunter over there will fit perfectly. I think Russ over there, even though that division is pretty tough, I don't see Washington replicating what they did. I think they still could be a good team. I think they can have that Texans type season again, where they overachieve so much this season. Dropping down around to the 2nd round will seem like a disappointment, but I think it'll still be a great season because I think they overachieved. And the Eagles, defending Super Bowl champs, they'll be there. Cowboys, we don't know about them. So I think they have a chance to probably get some improve on last season, get some wins, I should say. Get, like you say, about 8 or 9 wins. Maybe if some injuries fall your way, you'll slide into a little playoff spot if you can with Russ or whoever the quarterback. But I definitely think this signing took them out of the running for a quarterback because it'll just be too packed in that QB room. It made no sense to sign 2 veterans, Tommy DeVito, and bring in Shedeur. So I don't know. I think it should go best available. I'm looking at the draft board right now, Trey, and we went through the Cleveland and the Giants. New England sitting at 4. I assume they're going to draft whoever's left out of Abdul and Travis Hunter. I think that would be safe to say with them. Jacksonville, not sure where they'll go at. I haven't looked at it. Well, Mason Graham, D tackle.
Yeah, could be a good one for them.
Okay. What do you see if Shedeur Sanders slips? Who do you see? How far do you think he slips if he gets past the Giants? New England won't draft him. Jacksonville won't draft him. Las Vegas, they just signed Geno to a deal.
Yeah, but he also 34. I can, and I don't know the guarantees in Geno's deal. That's the thing,
right?
Like they gave him, like it's like $40 million a year.
Because Kirk Cousins signed the deal and they drafted Penix, so it's right there. It's history. It won't be shocking. The Jets, they definitely could go on with him. He could be in New York.
Even though they got Justin Fields. I mean, Carolina. I think the Saints could.
I definitely think the Saints could. That's what I'm getting to. As I'm going down this list, I'm getting to this.
Like if I was the Saints, I would just because you need the quarterback position handled. But and I talked about this a little bit yesterday on the pod of reportedly they didn't have the best meeting at the combine. And I think part of that was
with who?
With the Saints and Shedeur.
Oh, they didn't have the best meeting.
Where it was where it was, you got the report where he kind of was standoffish, more so treated it
Oh
like
man,
I'm
I'm
not
sick
going
of
to
these
be
reports.
like y'all not going to trade me, or y'all not going to draft me, or not y'all not going to be in position to draft me.
Okay.
And I think partially, even as far as the Saints are concerned, at pick 9, you don't think you have an opportunity at a Shedeur Sanders,
But you
based on
might.
the teams that are ahead of you, right? But knowing that, hey, well, we at least got to do our due diligence in the chance that he is available. So I think it was a little bit like if you already coming in thinking the guy's a pipe dream, can you really be mad that he's treating you like it's a pipe dream? I don't know, but I
Right.
think from a talent perspective, he's arguably the top quarterback in his class. I still have him behind Cam Ward when I take in the traits and the size and all that type of stuff. But I would take him. But here's the
I'll,
thing: what if
I'll I'll say
what if
this.
Dallas or Pittsburgh says, "Hell, we'll give you our first this year. We'll even get throw in the first next year because we really want this guy."
I'm not
And
doing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is pick
Pittsburgh
21.
at 21, but
Dallas at 12.
Dallas had 12.
I
But
don't think they'll give up their next
what I
year
see
first
it
for
as
3
is
slots.
But what I see it as, but Dallas might, if they know Pittsburgh want them, like for instance, if the quarterbacks you want to take theoretically because you think these are the quarterbacks you're in position to take, or Jalen Miller or Jackson Dart, you can get them at 21, you can get them at 12. It really
That's
doesn't
true.
matter. So you might tell Dallas, look, man, I'm gonna get my guy regardless, and they throwing in a first round pick next year. So if they want this guy, if you really want him, you got
But
to throw.
does Dallas do things like this though?
Jerry Jones does.
Does he trade his first round picks for quarterbacks? Maybe he might. He got the Deion Sanders blood.
Yeah.
It'll be a great story. I'll ask you this though: what would you trade for Shedeur Sanders if you were the Saints?
If I had to move up,
And he slipped past the Giants. We know he's not going 4 or 5, but to get Las Vegas, get in front of Las Vegas, to get to Jacksonville, what would you trade? And I'm gonna step away for a second to tend to baby
you
right quick.
good. For me, I would probably trade this year's first, and next year's second, like maybe 2 picks next year, and I'd probably trade one of my thirds. So I do pick 9, pick 71, and either a second round pick in 2026 to get them. I think that's reasonable to move down 4 spots. For the quarterback position, I'm not throwing in another first round pick. I just think that's too much. Like we were in the teens or something, and they wanted that pick, I would have said, yeah, throw in a first round pick because you got to move 10, maybe 15 spots to get down there and draft you a quarterback, and that's kind of the price you pay. But if I'm only having to move down 4 spots to get ahead of Vegas, I'm not giving them 2 first round picks. I'm gonna give them this year's first, this one of the third round picks we have this year, and I'll give them a second round pick next year and call it a day. And then if Vegas can put together a better offer, better than us, because again, I think you already have 2 quarterbacks in your radar that you realistically thought you'd get anyway. So yeah, I'm not throwing 2 first round picks to move 4 spots down. But yeah.
All right. Since I missed the trade package, was it a player involved?
No. So I said first this year, so I'd give him pick 9.
All right.
I'd probably give him pick 71. So one of our 2/3 this year. And then I'd give them a second round pick next year.
Yep. That sounds about right. That's about for 3 spots. I think that's fair. In Jacksonville, I think they still can get their guy. If they move back to 9, no matter what their target is, because they could go a lot of places on their offense or defense. So I like that package. I've been seeing a lot of
that Olave packages for some high risk for godforsaken reason.
Yes, I didn't even say it, but look, I didn't pause, and you already know I was there. I see the Olave packages. But that was to get up higher. That was to get up to like the Giants. Yeah, that was to get up for that. And it was Cam spoke very highly of the Saints organization, so that's why I think a lot of those packages went at. And I'm not mad at that, but I do want to transition to the Saints because we did sign an old friend in Brandon Cooks. What did you think about this signing?
I mean, I didn't mind the signing. I think
Mhm.
I mean, outside of really Olave, because I know everybody wants to throw Shaheed in there, but let's just be realistic. Outside of our first round pick that we invested in, Chris Olave, you don't
We
really have
haven't
much
invested.
behind him, right?
Mhm.
And I know some people think, oh, Brandon Cooks is going to be a depth piece, but was he really? I think he's an older Shaheed, but I think he's a more polished wide receiver than Rashid Shaheed is. I
Mhm.
think he's somebody that can then kind of kick Rashid back to kind of maybe that wide receiver 3 role. But if Shaheed is improving from his injury last season and he wants to take that wide receiver 2 mantle, I mean he definitely can.
Mhm.
Um, but we needed a veteran. We needed a veteran that has been, a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 for teams. Cedric Wilson was a good vet last year, but again, from a what's your role been in the league, he's never had that responsibility that was being asked of Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed last year. So maybe
Mhm.
Brandon Cooks comes in and can maybe share that experience with it. I'm all for bringing in, former players if they got their mind right. We know his initial exit right wasn't the best, but if he's kind of gotten past the sharing targets thing, like I'm
Oh,
fine with
he
that.
way past that.
Right now, it
He way
doesn't
past that.
doesn't now, I don't know about you, but it doesn't prevent me from drafting a wide receiver this year. I think we still need a bigger body
Oh, of
receiver to help.
course.
So, like, that's still kind of on my priority list that we got to walk out of this draft with somebody that's, maybe 6'2", 6'3", and above that can, obviously still run routes. Like, I don't want some just because you big but you slow. Like, I don't want that type of wide receiver, but I want somebody that
Jawan Johnson.
make some of these tough make some of these tough catches, man. Because I think
Yes,
Chris Olave is a really good receiver,
but
but
he's not a catching traffic guy.
the way defenses are allowed to tee off on him, you kind of want to be able to get yourself in a position where you can protect him a little bit more. The
Yes.
way we were able to do when Michael Thomas was healthier.
Mhm.
And you saw the way Chris Olave was being used. And I want to kind of get back to utilizing him in a more diverse way than we
Mhm.
had to do this past season that led to some bad concussions. So,
And
um,
I think Olave is just not that type of receiver.
mhm,
He's more on the slender side, even though they have some guy. It's like a Jamar Chase. He's
mhm,
he's like a he's not the biggest receiver, but
mhm.
he makes contested catches, but he doesn't take a lot of big hits. And he's very great at yards after the catch, which we haven't been able to see from Olave a lot
Yeah, and
throughout
that
his.
wasn't his strength coming in. So,
Yes, he was a deep ball receiver. But I would love to see him out more in open space and be able to create some yak after the catch. But between the balls that he gets and the placement of the balls, it just doesn't allow it.
mm-mm.
Um, little shot, but that's just the reality of the situation and the concussions. They have to get that under control this season, or he won't be able to even
Yeah,
play football
yeah,
anymore.
he's gonna
So
have to he's gonna have to wear
better
that
yet,
guard cap, man. Like,
yes, better yet than being a number one receiver, he got to worry about staying on the field. So
yep.
that's what we got to worry about with him. And the Brandon Cooks signing, I thought it was solid. We definitely, obviously, we needed it.
It
With
wasn't a lot of money either.
yeah, you saw what we had. When our two guys went out, I'm high on Shaheed than you are, but we can meet at a median there. Obviously, it's a big gap from 2 to the third receiver, which was
Yes.
Cedric Wilson last year, and I think he didn't catch his first ball till like week 6 of
Something
5 or
like
something
that.
like
It
that.
was
So,
bad.
and even with the injuries,
He didn't really step
Cedric
up.
wasn't even a viable target with all the
Nope.
injuries throughout the whole season. Like this could have been like a good make some money year for Cedric Wilson, and he just
Yeah,
didn't never get I guess the opportunity to
yeah,
implement it in the
like
offense.
MVS.
Yes.
MVS got signed off the street and
Ye-
became your best
Um,
wide receiver. Like,
yes, and the impact player like instantly. That was crazy to me. And he's I think he went when he went to Seattle.
Seattle, yeah, yeah, he went
I
with
don't know
Clint.
why the Saints couldn't grab him and sign him because the deal wasn't that huge, I believe. But
Yeah, but
that was
he
tough.
came to us for Clint, so so he was like, I'm following him to Seattle, that type of
Heard
thing.
that. That makes sense. He made him some money off the couch, man. That got to be the best thing ever. You sitting on the couch at home, a bunch of injuries. Oh, all right, boom, touchdown. I think he had 3 touchdowns in one game. Huh?
Something
His
like
first game.
It was like 2, I think. Maybe 2
week
or
2
3.
or
It wasn't
something.
big,
Yeah, I think he
yeah.
had that because I saw somebody bet on Twitter. Um,
Really?
they bet Valdez Scantling, and I think a Taysom Hill touchdown. Two or three touchdowns by Valdez and a Taysom Hill touchdown, and they hit big. I was like, who would have thought of this bet ever? Like, I was like, that's crazy, man. But we move on. They had some big deals going on. In the cornerback market, we saw this guy from LSU, DBU, Derek Stingley get a major deal. I'm gonna get the numbers on that. But what did you think of the Derek Stingley
I mean,
re-signing?
it was deserved.
Mhm.
Honestly, he gave him a discount as far as I'm concerned, because he could have got way more than he got just due to his value to not just the position but to that team. And man, I just want cornerbacks to get a little bit more love when it comes to these contracts. Man, you got
Man, they got the hardest
you
job.
got deep, you got wide receivers about to making 40 million a year, and obviously you know that's going to end up going up more and more. And why can't the guys that cover them see that same type of
Are they
money?
getting
I
that? He
mean,
got 30 million a year,
yeah, but shit, the top
89
receiver got
guaranteed.
what the top receiver got 40, right, or something like that. Like what?
Well, Jamar
Jamar got?
Chase, and that's a big. He like leaped Justin Jefferson. I don't know what you thought about the Jamar Chase situation, but I thought that was old boy by the Bengals. They went crazy.
Well, look, I'm gonna sign Jamar Chase to that, but I ain't signing T. Like, I mean, T. Higgins, they should have traded him. I don't
Well, they
think.
signed him for 28. That was he gave them a discount. He
Yeah,
gave
but I'm
them he
like,
gave them what Devontae Smith. He under Devontae Smith, Brandon Ayuk, type money. And I think if he probably goes to a team where he's the number one, he might put up the similar numbers to them. So he gave him a
yeah,
discount. And you heard the details in his deal, not to get off Derek Stingley, but you heard the details in his
it's
deal.
like a 2 years. It's like this year the money not guaranteed or something like that.
Yeah,
And
they
then it's
like
like,
something is 20 million when he signed, it was 20 million. Then once the roster bonus hits, it's 10 million, but nothing else is like
yeah, it's kind of
guaranteed.
weird. Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
he
weird
must have really
contract.
wanted to be there. Like,
Hey, yeah, he must have really
I'm like,
wanted to
hey,
stay. So
y'all better go far in the playoffs because
they
y'all
got
ain't
to.
touched the playoffs.
They got
But
to.
yeah, back to Derek Stingley. 3 years, I'm looking at it 90 million, and it says 89 guaranteed. So damn near
I
fully
don't know what
guaranteed
about the million.
contract.
Like, why I can't get the extra million?
Like these teams are not good. They not going for the we
Fully
doing a fully
guaranteed.
guaranteed. Yes, they like
Right.
like bruh, but it's okay. We know it's real. We ain't
Like,
worrying about that
dog,
$1
that's
million roster
crazy.
bonus.
Yeah, man. I just want, yeah, like I was saying, bro. Like I just want to see it being a little bit more on par. Like the highest left tackle, when you look, I think if you look at the numbers, the highest edge rusher is going to be on par with that,
Yep,
and I
Myles
think that makes
Garrett.
sense. So, and like we haven't seen. I mean, I guess the left tackles is up for a big payday. Haven't necessarily reached that yet, but I think with Myles Garrett is about to get $40 million a year. I think you see the next big left tackle get a deal. It's going to be somewhere around that or close to it. And
Yeah,
I just want DBs to get love too. Okay, I just want them to be. They gotta defend these highly paid wide receivers. I think they need to get in that market as well. But then
I
I
think
guess
so. And
we'll see.
JC Horn said his quote was, "This was the lowest passer rates allowed in coverage." I'm looking on
Okay.
PFF, I believe. This the top 5 corners. Do you think you know who they are? Lowest passer ratings allowed.
Passer Tane, Stingley. Let me see. Trying to think about
That's
who
2.
else out there.
All right,
I
I'm gonna give you
feel
the
like
other.
Slay. Is Slay up
Who?
there? Darius
No,
Slay.
Slayton,
Any out
definitely
there?
not.
Okay.
This since 2021.
Charvarius Ward. Is he up
No.
there? Yeah. Since 2021.
Yeah.
Marshawn up there? Did he play in
No, it's
2021?
Derek Stingley at 60.3, Sauce
Okay.
Gardner at 67.5,
Makes sense.
Deron Bland 72.9, JC Horn 75.7, and Marlon Humphrey at 77.7.
That's interesting.
I think a lot of people, the guys who got signed, Pat Surtain, JC Horn, and Derek Stingley, they were great young cornerbacks in this league. JC got 4 years, 100 million. That's 25. So they're creeping up there slowly but surely, especially with the Stingley deal at 30. And as the wide receiver keeps going up, I think the cornerbacks will go up. JC Horn said it's the hardest position outside of the quarterback on the field. I tend to agree with him on that. What do you think about that statement?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say quarterback first and then DB second.
Okay. Some other deals. We can get to the Myles Garrett deal, who wanted to get traded, but the money changed his mind, obviously. 40 mil to change anybody's mind per year. But let me see the guarantee. Myles Garrett guarantee. Pull that up. And the guarantee was 4 years, 160, guarantee 123 million, 88 at signing.
Good Lord.
88 million is fully guaranteed at signing, including a 21.54 million signing bonus. So you guys know what that means. Y'all know I'm big on what you get when you sign that deal. And he got $21 million coming to the account when he signed that contract. 88 guarantee, no matter what he do, unless he do some crazy shit off the field or something. But 88 fully guaranteed and 120 million guaranteed. 22 approximately at signing, 40 million a year. What do you think about this deal?
Deserved. It was funny. I mean, we tell people all the time you can't judge the NBA or NFL like you do the NBA. When a player in the NBA demands a trade, more times than not, they tired of losing. They actually want to get out. In the NFL, when a player demands a trade, that means they want to get paid more.
Simple.
It happens every time. And he's talking about, don't talk to me unless it's about getting me out of here. Well, they said, Mr. Garrett, sir, he got this money for you.
He delivered that to his agent.
I think he said
the owner won't talk to him or something.
Yeah,
Garrett wanted to meet with him for a trade. He's like, man, I ain't meeting with him, man. You know what? Tell him, send him this. Send him that deal. Let's see what he think now. All right, shut up then. Keep it pushing.
Man. It's a good deal. I think if anything, it sucks for the teams that haven't paid their pass rusher yet, like the Cincinnati Bengals. Trey Henderson, kiss that
like
goodbye.
The Cowboys.
Micah Parsons, you gotta give it you better trade him. Which is something that could happen, I guess, if you trade him to a team that would pay him. Hell, I give it a 9th pick for Micah Parsons. I ain't even gonna lie to you, but
we need
it out. But
we need that.
But Pittsburgh gonna have to pay TJ Watt. I
thought he got paid already. Re-up time.
It's re-up time. He going to last year's deal. These dudes. So I think the lesson we all got to learn here, right, is when it's the first available time to sign, whether it's your wide receiver, your edge rusher, your quarterback, to a contract extension, get it done, because the price gonna go up, especially if they ball out. So I don't know. It's crazy.
And following this shortly, poor Bengals waited. And they said, the guy GM said we're gonna make him the highest paid 9 quarterback ever. Talking about Ja'Marr Chase. This was before Garrett deal, so they didn't know it was gonna be this high. Jefferson was at 34, 36 million or something like that.
Something like that.
And we just talked about Garrett contract at 4 years, 160. Ja'Marr Chase contract is at, they pocket watching the NFL. It's 4 years, 161 million. It's less guaranteed. It's 112 guaranteed. Myles Garrett is 123. But he wanted to be the highest paid 9 quarterback ever. And he got that done. Now for the Bengals, obviously, you think Ja'Marr Chase is worth the 40 million. What's your take on that before we follow up on the Bengals?
I mean, they played with his money going into last year when they should have got the deal done. I think he wanted to be somewhere between about 35, maybe I think he would have
$1 million over Justin Jefferson.
He would have taken $1 more than Justin Jefferson just to say more than him.
Remember the interview as well? When he asked him, do you want to be paid more? He said I could blow his out the roof or something.
Yeah.
He said that in the post game. He was like, man, I could blow that contract out the roof.
But then he goes out and gets the triple crown. So you had to pay him. Like, it's crazy. So I mean, it's worth it. I mean, based on his value to the team, I think they're a much better team with him than without him. And so you definitely, and then most importantly, right, you want to keep the quarterback happy. So if Joe Burrow says, pay my guys, you pay his guys and you figure it out. Now, we've talked about this before because Joe been talking about pay the people, but he's not taking a pay cut or a restructure to make it happen. So we paying these guys. Y'all better win. So I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, well, the defense gave us this many points and yada, yada. No. Because we gave the money to the guys you wanted us to give the money to. So where y'all had to put up 35, put up 45. And when they put up 45 and win games 45-41, because that's what you're gonna have to do the next couple of years.
And this deal is kind of crazy because I'm looking at the I got the cash spot on Spot Track, how the deal is structured. He gets 41 million this year, but then next year goes down to 33 million. Then the next 2 years are 30 million, then 33, and the last year 2029 is 44 million. So it's front loaded and back loaded. So in the middle years they probably can have more flexibility. That's what I'm thinking, and I'm looking at the cap hits right now as well.
And they probably gonna borrow from that future money to make things happen. So
yep, because the cap hit this year is 23.5, next year is 26, the year after is 33, and the last 2 years is 41, and the last year is 53 million cap hit. So we'll see how, and he'll be about 30 years old around that time. So we'll see how it's going in, because I'm sure Joe Burrow will be reeing up around it before that as well, and they'll be having more players they have to pay as they draft players and they find some young studs. Any other deals that we forget to mention? Oh, I'm tripping. I know. Quarterbacks. Going into Seattle. What's your thoughts on that? They basically swapped Geno for Darnold.
Man, I would have stayed in Minnesota unless Minnesota would have told me, bro, we really trying to rock with JJ this year. We're not gonna bring you back. I'm staying there because Sam Darnold signed, and then the next thing you know, DK Metcalf gone, Tyler Lockett get cut. They have nobody, man.
They got Jackson and Nick.
Man, he good, but Lord, you lost almost everybody. Like, bro, I would have called Minnesota back and be like, look, this is just the negotiation period. Everything ain't set in stone yet. Can y'all take me back? I'll just take franchise tag me something. Like, I got to play with Justin Jefferson. I can't do this. But I think it's a good deal for both sides in the sense that obviously Sam Darnold gets a good payday, has an opportunity to show that, you know, he can continue to be a franchise quarterback for a team. I think he's only 26, 27 still. So, you know, it's a real good deal for him. And as far as Seattle is concerned, like, if I was them, it wouldn't stop me from still exploring the quarterback market in this year's draft of bringing somebody in behind them. I won't necessarily have to do it in the first round, but I can draft somebody in the maybe second or third round, bring a guy in to be behind Sam Darnold. So, you know, their new coach, Coach McDonald, is, I guess, trying to make the team in his own image. Got rid of a lot of Pete's guys who, I guess, Pete is going back to get them anyway. And so I'm interested to see how it looks, because we saw when Minnesota's offensive line had its struggles, Sam Darnold struggled. Well, Seattle offensive line isn't a really good offensive line. So I'm interested to see what the Sam Darnold experience is going to look like, and if he starts seeing ghosts again like he did when he played for the Jets.
Oh, Lord. I'll say this. He had a good year, good to great year with Minnesota with a bunch of weapons. You're taking all the weapons away from him now with the Addison, the Hockenson, the Jefferson. So we'll see if last year, obviously they have quarterbacks who elevate other people, have quarterbacks who maintain talent. They have quarterbacks who get elevated by talent around them. This year we'll find out if Sam Darnold is a quarterback who can not, I won't say elevate others because that's the greats of the greats, but just can be solid with average to good talent and not amazing talent like Minnesota had at the skill positions. So we'll see if that was a fluky year last year for Sam Darnold. Was it just he in a great system with Kevin O'Connell?
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell, yeah. Kevin O'Connell over
But you
there
kind
in
of
his
going to a
system.
similar system, right, with Clint Kubiak. So
Yeah, but Clint Kubiak isn't,
fair.
as we know.
You
We
know,
thought Clint is
you had a
decent,
point.
but we'll see. He isn't proven yet. I should say that he isn't
Right.
proven. He can prove a lot with Seattle as well. I should say that. Especially with Sam Darnold. A lot of injuries with the Saints last year. We know from firsthand with our team, but we don't give too many excuses. I think we'll put Derek Carr and Sam Darnold in the same boat of type of quarterback at this point in their career. One's not as great as the other. Sam Darnold just had a slower start to the career. Carr has been more consistent, but talent-wise, it's here and there. I wouldn't be mad if Sam Darnold was the same quarterback other than Derek Carr, basically.
Right. I say with Seattle, man, like it's almost like Sam Darnold can't be much worse than Geno Smith was. Like you won 10 games last year with Geno, and the reason why you ended up trading him was because you wanted to pay him $30 million. He wanted $40 million.
Right.
And if it ends up being the case that you're just bad next year, and even if you give Sam Darnold another year, you're bad that year, and the difference was $20 million over a 2-year period, and you got rid of a guy that was consistently winning you 9+ games a year, and probably one of the toughest divisions in football.
Yes.
I mean, now we got to start looking at, that GM, because he's a really good GM. He's always been good about, getting rid of guys maybe a year or two earlier instead of a year or two too late, like a Russell Wilson, right? But I don't know. Like you got to figure something out.
I'll ask you this. The 49ers, we stay in that division, haven't got a deal done with Brock Purdy. Myles Garrett, I told you Myles Garrett got $40 million. It was reported that the deal started around like 47, 48 or something. Where do you stand with Brock Purdy, and where do you think his deal will fall at? Do you think it'll fall around $60 million? Dak Prescott got $60 million, I believe.
It shouldn't. In
yes,
my
but
opinion,
we know the market. We know the market, though. We know it shouldn't.
We know the market, but we also know Kyle Shanahan. And the funny thing is, they signed Mac Jones in free agency.
Right. I'm gonna still wait 1 second, brother.
Go ahead. Now you good. And I mean, it's not for a lot of money. Clearly, there to be Brock Purdy's backup. I won't say that there's a quarterback conversation going on. But you mentioned when you were talking about Sam Darnold, is he a quarterback that plays well relative to the talent around him, or is he somebody that can raise some of the talent around him or not have a significant drop-off when talent is either injured or just not there on the team from a personnel standpoint? I mean, I think we've seen that without some of the talented players that San Francisco has had over the past few years when they weren't in the lineup, like a Christian McCaffrey, a Brandon Ayuk, a Deebo Samuel dealing with injuries. We saw Brock Purdy struggle a little bit. And when you're thinking about, okay, who's going to be my franchise quarterback, do I want to pay that guy $60 million? I mean, he was a 7th-round pick. And unless he gets you to a Super Bowl again, I don't think you make that deal. And I think there's an opportunity with bringing the Mac Jones in, maybe a guy that you should have drafted 4 years ago when you had that opportunity and you ended up going with Trey Lance. Instead, maybe, you say, hey, Brock's probably not getting it done the way we want it to get done. Mac, let's see what we have with you. And if Mac does well, now you have still a young quarterback on a much cheaper contract, because even if Mac Jones comes in and balls out as your starting quarterback, he ain't asking for $60 million a year. You can go that route. So I don't know, man. I got to see how Brock does. I mean, they don't have Deebo. We don't know how Christian McCaffrey is going to come back off of his injury issues this past season. And I get it. You want to I'd say you want to try to pay a guy early, but if his price right now is at 60, I'm not. And then even if he does well and he wants to increase that price, well, go on the open market and see if somebody else is going to pay that price, because Kyle Shanahan has already shown that I can do it. I can replicate my success regardless of who is behind center. And then now you're talking about a quarterback class that's going to have an Arch Manning, is going to have a Lenore Sellers, going to have a Cade Klubnik, going to have um, uh, Garrett Nussmeier, among other quarterbacks coming out in next year's class. Do I take an opportunity on that guy?
I'll tell you
Instead
this.
of paying Brock that money.
I'll tell you this. I think if the 49ers didn't whiff so bad on
With
the Trey Lance, I think they'll
Mhm.
be a candidate to trade up this year.
That's a good point.
With Brock Purdy coming up for a big contract,
Mhm.
I don't know if John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan will do it again.
Mhm.
Like trading the first round picks to jump up and probably draft a Shador, whoever they like at that point.
Yeah, pick 11. It's not like they like super far.
Yeah, they're not super far. So I'll say I wouldn't be shocked depending
Mhm.
on the deal. Depending on the negotiating. If it happened with them, I wouldn't be shocked if I seen them on draft day trade up, like the 49ers are trading up to draft a quarterback with the
Mhm.
situation going on with Brock Purdy at. Because I think most people view Brock Purdy as a middle of the league quarterback. Could be good, could be a top 10 at his best, probably, but I don't know if obviously can get you to the Super Bowl, but can you get it done? Can you finish the job? Jimmy G got him to a Super Bowl. You have to finish the
Good.
job. So that's what I think Kyle Shanahan and Lynch are thinking over there. I wanted to ask you this as well. I know this is
Mhm.
kind of early in free agency, but this Saints wise.
Mhm.
Um what did you think about the Travarius Ward going to Indianapolis over the Saints?
Uh, I thought it was a good look for the Saints.
He said,
I'll say I put it this way. You showed that you wanted to go after the best guy at his position on the market.
Right.
Somebody paid more than you. A price that you probably could have surpassed if you wanted to, but you didn't. And that's progress because we're in a rebuild, and you don't need to be trying to waste or put money like that right now on the players. And you miss out on a guy, and in the process of chasing him, you lose out on a Paulson Adebo who got signed at a rate that you would have loved to pay him at $18 million
Yes.
a year, right?
Yes.
But that's the cost that's the price you pay when you go after the
Yeah,
big
when you
fish.
go when you go
Right.
chase the woman who don't want you, you
Yeah.
miss the woman who wants you.
And look, all reports said that Travarius Ward was preparing to fly to New Orleans, and then he got that call that said, "Hey, Indy up the deal." All right, well, turn the jet around. We going to Indy, and that's fine.
Right.
I mean, and good for him. I think you bring in obviously Kool-Aid, your guy outside. You hopefully will put Alontae Taylor back inside. You sign Isaac Yiadom, I think is how you pronounce it. There's a really good DB class. I know there's been talks about the Saints doing it at 9. I don't think you have to. I think there's a lot of good cornerbacks that you can get at 40 and 71 that have that length profile, really good at man-to-man, but also good in that match zone concept that Brandon Staley's defense likes to run. And I think there are some cornerbacks in college right now that have played in that system. Like I think about a guy like Trey Amos out of Ole Miss that played at that system in Alabama and Ole Miss for 2 years. Also a former teammate of Kool-Aid McKinstry. That's probably somebody that, hey, maybe you can get him at pick 40. Azariah Thomas out of Florida State had a great showing at the Senior Bowl. If he's there at 40, that's probably somebody you can get. Siobhan Revel out of East Carolina, he could be a late first round pick, but coming off an ACL, is that somebody that you can maybe snag in the second round or maybe kind of move up a little bit more, either closer to the early part of the second or late first and go grab him. So I think there are a lot of cornerback options in the draft that can provide depth and can provide stability on the outside, opposite Kool-Aid, where you don't have to stretch and get somebody at 9 like a Will Johnson or Jahdae Barron. I don't think you have to do that at 9 at that position.
Okay. I think
Asante Samuel Jr. is still available. We just talked about that. Like he haven't been signed, and that was Brandon Staley's draft pick. So
that is correct.
maybe
Our
bring him
cornerback
in.
room was our best room at the beginning of last year. Kind of flip the script a little bit. We're gonna need our young guys to step up. Alontae and Kool-Aid. Isaac gonna get some more run. We're gonna need them to step up. Does Alante move to the outside?
I
Back
think
to
he
the outside?
stays. I think he moves. I think he stays to the inside.
Okay.
I think if Brandon Staley can utilize him the way he did Jalen Ramsey with the Rams, I think we got a really good pairing with those two. I mean, Alante was one of the most disruptive players in the slot last year when he had to do that, but then getting kicked out to outside because first injuries and then the trade of Marshall and Lattimore, he had to play outside. So I think if you put him at inside and say, hey, you're going to be our star at that position and going crazy there, I think you can really get a lot out of Alante Taylor going into what this would be his fourth season, I think. Yeah, fourth season.
Alante, yeah, third or fourth. Okay. Do you have a mock draft done, my guy? Or do you want to get one? We could get one. I know you into the super college. We maybe could get a first round mock draft from you on one of the upcoming shows before the draft.
Yeah.
All right.
We could do one of those. Actually, I know. So one thing I've been liking to do around draft season is get a few podcasters together, and we probably I think we try to stick to 8 at most. So at the most, you got a person has 4 picks that they're responsible for.
Okay.
I think we could do something like that, and then we'll just kind of do like a little.
I like that. I've seen that a lot. I like that.
Yeah. So we can do that, just so it's not as much pressure. Because like if I got to pick for all 32 teams or even pick for the Saints, I'm gonna manipulate that shit. I'll tell you that right now.
You'll be like Cam Ward dropped the 9.
I'm gonna have Cam Ward dropping the 9. I'm gonna have Travis Hunter dropping the 40. Like we get all the players.
Man, don't let Trey be the GM, man. Didn't talk a lot of NFL, y'all. We got to get out here because we got to wrap it up. But a lot of NFL talk. Maybe if we got some time, we do another show. You free tomorrow, brother?
Tomorrow? I'm not. I'm actually gonna be on the road back home.
Well, we'll try to find another day to get some more content out, y'all. NBA's playoffs is about to ramp up. We got some NBA games on tonight, so y'all go tune in. Any last words for the people, brother?
Nah, man. Look, just happy to be back. Looking forward to everybody that's watched the episode today, and then when we load it up, you guys get to listen. I mean, look, we've been talking about these free agency signings. Let us know what y'all think. I mean, you don't have to just restrict it to the Saints. Let us know what you think about league-wide. Think about some of the folks that are still available and who might get a deal. Draft season is upon us, so we probably at that point in season where you're probably not signing any free agents the next few weeks. You're going to see what you want in the draft, and then what you don't get during the draft, that's when you'll kind of go back into the pool. And we've seen, the Saints do that a lot. They did that last year. And so they might do that again. So looking forward to that.
Right. And future news we'll touch on Diggs did sign a contract today. Forgot about that. 3 years, $69 million. Stephon Diggs to the Patriots. And we're still waiting on to see what Aaron Rodgers does. But
I'm tired of that dude. I want him out the league.
Hopefully, but that's the right time. She want a cookie. But thank y'all for watching today, y'all. This is the Bayou Ballers podcast. No more turning up in the near future for me. I'm gonna leave that to Trey. It's his turn, man. It's Trey's turn, man. He the one with no kids. I'm gonna let him do the turning. But y'all have a good day, man. Thank y'all for tuning in.